Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. On behalf of the Bryan County Chamber of Commerce, I'd like to thank you for joining us for today's city candidate debate. This debate is being live streamed from the Chamber's conference room and will remain available for playback following today's event. Due to limited space, this is not a public forum and only the candidates, moderator, and staff running the event are present in the room. The Chamber is proud to host this event as part of our ongoing commitment to civic engagement and helping our community make informed decisions. Our goal today is to provide a fair, respectful, and impartial setting where each candidate has the opportunity to share their views directly with the voters. All questions being asked today were submitted by Chamber members ahead of time. Candidates have not received the questions or topics beforehand, ensuring that all responses are given in real time and under the same conditions. Please note that not all questions may be asked due to time constraints, but every effort has been made to ensure a balanced and meaningful discussion. We sincerely appreciate our candidates for their participation and for their willingness to serve our community. At this time, I'll turn it over to our moderator, Tom Allman, who will begin with introductions and the first question.
Well, thank you, Summer. We'll conclude today's debate with the mayoral candidates. This race features two candidates, Ms. Belgisha Howard, I'm so sorry, and Ms. Christy Cox. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each question and 3 minutes at the end for a closing statement. The order of responses has been determined by a random drawing held earlier, and both candidates have been briefed on the rules and the format. Questions were submitted in advance by chamber members, and candidates have not received the questions or topics ahead of time. With that, we'll begin the mayoral debate with our first question. Ms. Cowart. First question is in regard to leadership. How would you describe your leadership style, and how do you envision leading this community?
I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Clifton Strengths, but I had the opportunity to do the test that tells you what your Clifton Strengths are when I did Leadership Effingham this past year. And my leadership style is executing and influencing. One of the things about executing is it's a person that gets things done, and that's what I do. I have the ability to get things done. I like to make lists. I like to set goals. I like to check things off. That's the way I do, and I love to meet a goal. Influencing, I'm a bridge builder. As someone that can tell stories, that can reach across the aisle, that can work with people and influence other people to come onto your team. One of the things that I started doing when I decided that I was going to run was I started trying to meet with as many people that are in leadership around the community, the city, the county, and even the state. I've reached out. And I've been sitting down and having those discussions with them that if I'm elected, what has worked well with us so far and what would you like to see done differently? I've met with people from the city council, county commissioners, development authority, the only people, Buddy Carter. I've reached out to people up in Atlanta. I'm trying to make those meetings. I met with Mayor Ziegler last couple of days ago. Anyway, just trying to build those relationships and making sure that no matter what, we're able to work together. I think that is one of the biggest things that I want to do, is to try and bring us all together to work together.
Thank you. Ms. Cox?
I think if I was to describe my leadership style, it would be from a servant standpoint. I believe in bringing everybody together and collaborating. I believe in having discussions to pinpoint whatever issue, the goal, the topic. I believe in everyone building bridges. And in addition to being a servant, though, because I always feel like I put the people first, I also do have a part of me, because I was a juvenile probation officer, that brings in the accountability and the rule following. It's very important to me to provide expectations to people so they know what is actually expected of them so that they can follow through. We want to be sure that we build everyone up and provide success, help everyone have personal growth as well as professional growth. And so I think I would just call it servant leadership with a little bit of accountability thrown in.
Thank you. Ms. Cox, our second question is also in the area of leadership. What are the 2 or 3 things that you love about Richmond Hill?
I love the culture and the people. There's one thing, even with the growth that has occurred over the last couple years, we have not lost the ability to come together when there is a need or there's been some type of a loss or a major disaster such as the flooding. I love the fact that we are really there for each other and have each other's back. I love I'm sorry, I love the fact that we have all of the rivers and the open space, and I love the camaraderie.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Halkauer?
Gosh, there's so many things about Richmond Hill that I love. When I was in high school, I went to high school at Liberty County High School, which is about 20, 30 minutes away from here. And we used to come 2 or 3 times a week. We would come over to Richmond Hill and we would eat at Bill Hilliard's. I don't know if you guys remember that. It's not here anymore, but everybody that lived here that's from here, they know Bill Hilliard's. And what we used to say in high school was that the hot boys went to Richmond Hill High School when I was in high school. But it was because it was different. You know, they were it was a smaller town. I loved the small town feel that Richmond Hill has, but I also love our schools. I love the opportunities that are available to our kids and the programs that they have here. But the thing that I love the absolute most is the community. I mean, I've only been back this way for a little over 4 years, and I feel so welcomed and loved by this community. And in times like the flooding that happened last year, like Christy had stated, you know, we came together as a community, and when parts of leadership weren't there and there wasn't as much communication and organization, our community pulled together as a whole, and we were able to work together, help people, and get things done. And I love that about this town. I love that about the people here, and I love that I felt welcomed and loved and accepted. You know, that's what I love about Richmond Hill.
Thank you. Ms. Halkauer, our third question is also in regard to leadership. How do you perceive the relationship between the city leadership and the county leadership?
Perceive it. As an outsider that's not someone that's not actually sitting on either one of those boards currently, I hear a lot of disconnect, I hear that there's a lot of, you know, you see this in a lot of cities where the city works and the county works and they all work in their own little silos. And what we got to do is we got to work together. We can't do that. We have to be able to work together, collaborate together, and build those bridges where there's fences. We need to build bridges, and I think that's very important. I believe that what we've seen currently is a lot of, you know, this is the county's tax money, this is the city's tax money, this is this. You know, we all live here in this city. The people that live in this city, we're also part of the county. And so I think it's important that we try to work together for the betterment of the community as a whole. And not just Richmond Hill, you know, we also have to, what happens here can affect surrounding counties. So I think that we need to be able to build those bridges as well and have collaborations and the ability to work together with everyone.
Thank you. Ms. Cox?
I think the perception of the community is that we do not get along. I, having served on council now for quite a while, don't necessarily see it that way. I have actually been chastised, is maybe a good word, of having a relationship with county officials. During that flooding, Carter Enfinger and I were on the phone every morning and every evening, which most people didn't realize was happening. I have a very good working relationship with the county, and if elected, I feel like we already have the foundation to move forward. I work well with all of the commissioners. I work well with school board. I work well with Pembroke. We have to remember when we're one Bryan, and it's not just about the county and the city of Richmond Hill, because Pembroke is our sister city. I'll give you one example. We were wanting for the city of Richmond Hill to change our parade route, and it basically took one phone call to Carter Enfinger, and then he made a phone call to Ben Taylor, and within 5-10 minutes, we got the approval to move the starting of the Christmas parade over at the rec gym off of Timber Trail. So the relationships are already built there. I perceive that there are times when we act like we're brothers and sisters and we don't get along. But the foundation is there to build upon, to have a really good working relationship.
Thank you. Ms. Cox, the next question is in regard to disaster relief. In response to Tropical Storm Debbie, what would you have done differently?
Well, I think that's a misconception too by the community, because EMA has actually run under the county, not the city. And so at the time, we had a fill-in EMA director that was doing the best he could. I think all of us made some mistakes during Debbie and Helene that I think we've all owned. You know, we had a situation where our mayor was in a house that was, his street was flooded. We had a city manager and assistant city manager that were out of town. And so many people perceived that we weren't actually involved and active, but there were a lot of us that were in the command and control center that actually started at First Baptist Church working behind the scenes, and people just didn't see that because we weren't out there actually filling sandbags. But after that, I was contacted by Georgia Municipal Association because of our situation here in Bryan County, and asked to serve on a council that actually put together some disaster preparedness best practices. And then we came together across the state. There were about 25 or 30 of us that got together and put together best practices. And then I was actually able to present on a webinar across the state of Georgia. So I think we learned a lot of lessons through that. We now have EMA Director Allie Pageant, who's done a phenomenal job since she's gotten here in writing safety plans and going out and advertising. We're talking to different community groups to let them know what's available, and she's really putting together a phenomenal plan. So we shouldn't have another situation like we had during Debbie and Helene.
Ms. Howard?
What would I have done differently? Probably several things, and I commend you guys for the progress that you have made so far, Christine. I do appreciate that. I see that, and I attended the county meeting yesterday when they had the pre-planning meeting for the county commissioners, and Allie was there, and she did go over, you know, all of the things that the programs that they have, the efforts that they're making, and I was very impressed. She is a straight to the point, tells what she's doing, gets it done, and then that's it. There's no chitter chatter about it. And she's very put together, well put together, organized, and I love that about her. What I would have done differently is I appreciate the fact that I know when you're in leadership, you do have to be behind closed doors and do things. But at a time that we were in when nobody expected this, I feel like our leadership should have been out there helping us, boots on the ground, filling sandbags, getting in the boats, doing the things. I mean, I personally, I was out till like 4 o'clock in the morning a couple of times, helping people, evacuating pets, and bringing things out for people. I just feel like there should have been a little more organization. There should have been a plan in place, and I'm glad that we do have that now. What I would like to see going forward is I would like to see us have a list, like a list of, you know, doing maybe even doing classes for the community. Like, this is how you prepare for an emergency. These are the things. And then also, like, within our church, we have a list of who specializes in these things. Like, if you have somebody that specializes in sewage, someone that's medical, someone that's, you know, a builder, you know what people specialize in. I was asked to be on the CERT team just recently for the city, and I like that we have those programs, and I think we should have had those in place before this took place.
Ms. Howe-Coward, the next question is in regard to growth and infrastructure. And it is, what are the 2 or 3 pressing issues facing our city, and why are you the best person to address them?
I believe that the 2 or 3 issues that we have facing us right now is that we're growing so fast. We're growing at a rate that we weren't prepared for. I don't think that anyone was prepared 10 years ago for Hyundai to come here. And with that coming here, you know, we don't have the housing in place to sustain it. We don't have the roads in place. We don't have the traffic lights and we need to improve on, we need to improve our we've got to readdress the comprehensive plan. We need to improve the roads. You know, we need to look at possibly widening the roads. I brought that up yesterday in a meeting I was having with someone, and they're like, the state's not going to do, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do it. Look, if you look out the window, there's not enough traffic. And I'm like, but there is. And if it's not enough now, in 5 years, there's going to be enough. Like, we can't wait until it's a problem. We have to address it now. And the drainage, the sewage and the drainage, that's another huge issue because the flooding, you know. What happened when we had that flooding last year or a year and a half ago, whenever it was, nobody anticipated that. That's like a once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing that's going to take place, right? But now that we've had it, you learn from it. And that's one of the things, you know, I love about when people make mistakes or cities or counties, you learn from it. I think that we need to reach our hand across the aisle and look at other counties or other states or other cities, and when they've grown so fast, and ask them, hey, what did you do? How did you combat this? What did you do well? What did you not do well? How can we improve, and how can we implement these things into our city and into our county and collaboratively work with the people in our state so that this doesn't happen to us? I used to live in Pooler when there was nothing but Walmart and Home Depot. If any of you remember that 20 years ago, you couldn't pay me to live there now. I lived in McDonough, Georgia before it was what it is. It's the worst traffic in all of metro Atlanta. That is why I want to get involved. That's why I want to be your mayor, because I don't want that to happen to Richmond Hill, Georgia.
Thank you. Ms. Cox?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes,
Because it was
ma'am.
long.
What are the 2 or 3 pressing issues facing our city, and why are you the best person to address them?
Okay, so we have several pressing issues. Of course, the drainage is one of the biggest ones. And we are actually now working on a plan to restrict the stormwater runoff on new development, which is one way. We need to look at a better rotation of cleaning out ditches. We need to ensure that we're doing what I call red, yellow, green program, where you put the light into the camera into the drainage pipes and see which ones need to be repaired now, which one can wait a few years, and then which one's long-term, because they're actually okay right now. We have an issue with the jobs, the fact that a lot of our people have to leave town to go get a job making a very decent wage. Housing is an issue. You know, the city government doesn't control rent, but a lot of times we hear from people that we don't have, that they can't afford to live here. So we have public safety officers that can't even afford to live here in Richmond Hill, so they're having to come from other places. And so that's a topic that needs to be addressed, and we need to find a way to ensure that they're able to live here in our county as well.
Thank you. Ms. Cox, the next question is also in regard to growth and infrastructure. As we continue to grow, what infrastructure needs do you feel need to be addressed?
The drainage, that's an important one, because a lot of times when a storm's coming and I ride around and look, there's still a lot of issues with the drainage not being cleaned out. I believe that we need a better, like I said in the last one, a better rotation of cleaning all of that out and ensuring that that's taken care of. And I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I've been up since 7:30 this morning. Will you please repeat the question?
Certainly. As we continue to grow, what infrastructure needs do you feel need to be addressed?
I mean, the drainage is the main one. You know, we can't really do a whole lot about the traffic that was mentioned, because we do have state highways here, and we're not in control of that. We're addressing some of the traffic light issues that need to be addressed as well, but I mean, the drainage is really the main one.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Howe-Coward?
Yeah, I agree with Councilwoman Cox on that. The drainage is a huge issue. I met with Scott Allison. He's one of the individuals that I met with a few weeks ago, and he gave me a lot of information on the planning and zoning and things that we could do to address it. You know, Drainage is a problem, but I think the way that we're gonna be able to fix that most is we've gotta look at the areas when we do have rising water, what areas are flooding the most? And so we need to put them in a more frequent rotation, more frequent, I cannot talk right now, a more frequent rotation, of checking those drains and making sure those are the ones that are getting cleaned, and put them on address them and, flag them. Like, this one's gonna be, we know this is gonna get clogged. We need to make sure we put that one on first. So addressing that. But another issue we need to look at is the traffic. I mean, because we are growing, the traffic, I don't know about you, when I was talking to the individual I was talking to yesterday, and they're like, the state's not gonna do anything about it. I'm like, baloney. I can't pull out of Publix to get here. It takes me 5 minutes to pull out right there at Publix, and it's dangerous. I won't even let my kids, I'm like, you need to go the other direction, go by the high school, and then come out at Parker's. We need a traffic light, we need traffic circles or something. So I think, looking at where we can put traffic lights, we need to have more traffic lights. I also think that it's very dangerous for the traffic that's coming out when you're on Ford Avenue and people coming out and they're trying to go left. There needs to be like a wall put there in the middle. So the cars go up, they'd come around and they do a U-turn. Just different things like that, addressing those. More traffic circles. I know some people don't like them, but they are phenomenal at keeping the flow of traffic. I think that's even better than traffic lights, but I think we can, evaluate those and see what we need, but we definitely need to do those things to try and improve the traffic problems.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Halkart, this is our third question. It's also in regard to growth and infrastructure. So, do you support the proposed airport? Yes or no? If yes, why? Or if no, why?
So I am so happy that was on here, because I want to address that, because my words got twisted. Someone on social media in one of the community pages had posted that, what are your thoughts on the airport? I do not want an airport. I do not support an airport. If I could end my question right there, I'd be happy to do it, but I can't. So let me explain to you the reasons and what I put in there. I believe in transparency, and when we are talking to the community, when we vote, actually, I don't even have a vote, I'll be the tiebreaker, and I don't think it will ever come to that. But if it comes to that on the airport, when we go to vote, if we vote yes, I want to make sure that everyone in this community knows exactly what you're voting for. You're getting this, this is gonna cost you this, it's gonna do this. If we say no, I want you to know exactly what you're saying no to. Because if we say no to an airport, they're either gonna put this here or this here. So if you say yes, it's gonna cost this, or it may not cost anything. I don't know, because I haven't seen the studies. I've seen the recent one, but there's more things that you can look at before we decide on anything like that. But if you're gonna say yes or no, I wanna make sure that you know exactly what you're saying yes or no to. Because I am almost positive that if we say no to an airport, it's gonna either be a neighborhood or warehouses. And so either we have to look at all the options and see what's going to put the least amount of strain on our city and the constituents within the city. What's going to put strain on our roads, on our schools, on our water, on our police and fire. So that's where I would look at it. Do I want an airport? Absolutely not. If it were up to me, I'd love for Richmond Hill to stay just like this forever, because I love this quaint feeling, but it's not going to happen. Richmond Hill is going to grow. We just have to plan the right way and how we want it to grow. But to answer your question, no, sir. I'm not for an airport. I do not want an airport.
Thank you. Ms. Cox?
I've made it clear that I'm not in support of an airport. I was actually on a call earlier today with GDOT. They're doing a regional study of all the airports in our area. That's going to take about a year to see what the need is and where they can potentially put some of the money into existing airports before we build a new one. I have also made it clear that I believe that the way and the manner in which the information was provided was done backwards. I do not believe there was a whole lot of transparency with that, and I do understand dealing with the Development Authority, there's a lot of NDAs that have to be signed, and a lot of information can't always be put out in the same way we would want it to be done. But at the end of the day, I'm an elected official, and if I had to vote on it today, I have heard the people. The people have said they do not want an airport, and so for that reason alone, I would vote no.
Thank you. Ms. Cox, the next question is in regard to public safety. Mm-hmm. What would you do to support public safety with our growing population?
Well, public safety is basically the reason that I voted no to the 2025 budget. We had an opportunity to apply for a SAFER grant, which would have given us potentially 3 firefighters for free for 3 years. And I was told we don't hire firefighters for free because on, year 4, we're going to have to pay for them. My position is by year 4, we're going to have to pay for them anyway, so we should have been able to get them under the SAFER grant. I have been working for over a year now on trying to secure housing for our public safety, including fire and police officers, and we've also talked about teachers through one of the adult apartment complexes. Unfortunately, the person I was dealing with left, and so administration above them said that we'd have to put it on hold until they hired their new director. So we've been working on this. I believe our public safety deserves all the equipment, all the necessary staffing and tools that they need in order to protect our community and ensure that we're all safe.
Thank you. Ms. Howard?
Yeah, I believe it's the 2 things that that are most important to people when you look at a city and when people are trying to move here or thinking of moving here are your schools and if it's safe. And that's the things about Richmond Hill that are the most attractive, I believe. As the city grows, we're going to have to, our law enforcement, our police, our fire, our emergency management, it's all going to have to grow. And we're going to have to figure out ways to make that happen. 2 of the people that I haven't met with yet are Chief Green and the Chief of Police. They're the only 2 people that I have not sat down and had conversations with yet that I intended to before this election takes place, and I still plan to. But also, I think we have to look at our jails and support our sheriff's office as well. Like, we have to, the city is part of the county, and so all of the police involved it's important that we support them. A lot of people don't know this, but there are so many people, I don't know the exact number, but the number of people that are out there with warrants out for their arrest, but we can't arrest them and put them in jail because we don't have anywhere to put them. And so someone being a survivor and knowing how important it is when you dial 911 and you want to make sure that someone is there to rescue you when you need them. And if all of our police are dispersed or our emergency, our ambulances or fire or dispersed other places and they can't get to me, that's a catastrophe. So we have to make sure that we are finding ways, using grants, using whatever resources we have to hire police and firefighters in this city. And I agree with what Councilwoman Cox said. Finding affordable housing is extremely difficult. My son, who had just gotten out of the military and was working at Gulfstream, he wanted to live right here. He couldn't find anything under $250,000. He was 22 years old, ready to buy his own house with money. He had money saved for years to put a down payment, and he couldn't find anything that he could afford for him and his wife and their 2 small children. So they had to move to Port Wentworth. We need to find a way to make housing more affordable for our police and fire.
Ms. Howard, the next question is in regard to business. How would you propose to support the growth for our small businesses, and how will you attract new businesses to our community?
Well, that's a fantastic question, seeing that we're right here at the Bryan County Chamber of Commerce, don't you think? I think finding ways that we can collaborate together. I know the chamber is a nonprofit, and the city, we can't just give money, but I'm sure there are ways that we can collaborate together and find different ways to attract people. Our small business, that's the heart of this community. I love it. And I get so mad at my husband when he says he's going to drive into Savannah to go to Home Depot or Lowe's. And I'm like, don't you dare, go right here. We have it right here. We have to support our small businesses. And as a community, we can do events and things and bring people together as a community, like the fair like the fall festival or when we used to do the seafood festival. Different events that we do together as a community can bring the community, attract people here, and working with the chamber, I believe, is ways that we can support our small businesses and showcase us. We can showcase Richmond Hill as what we are, this amazing community that loves one another, works together, has fantastic schools, has beautiful parks, historical, places that you can go to. We have, Fort McAllister. There's all the things, and we can work together to do that.
Thank you. Ms. Cox?
We've had a few discussions with the chamber. I feel like any way that we can potentially work with the chamber is going to be beneficial. not only the chamber, but the DDA. I think bringing the DDA together with the chamber, because that's some of what the DDA does as well for the city. I think bringing in the Development Authority, I think the Chamber's done a great job working with the Development Authority. We all have our own little niche, but I think that working together, we can actually accomplish a lot more for our community. I think we've had some discussions about how could we look at some of the taxing, some of the fees that are involved in bringing some of the new businesses here. I think that's a challenge for some small businesses, because when they're having to put forth a lot of money and then having different fees involved, and then the occupational tax that they have to pay, maybe readjusting some of that. We've had some discussions about incubators, business incubators. Is that a good idea, maybe to have a location where we can bring in some small businesses that have their startup location to help them? I would love to see the DDA and the chamber working together and all of us coming up with a plan. I think it's extremely important. Our small businesses are very important to our community. I mean, that's been the backbone of our whole city for years and years and years. I mean, I can remember the day when, you know, we had two nonprofits here, and we were constantly hitting the same small businesses over and over and over again. But it's important for us to provide them with the tools and the resources that we are able to provide legally to help them accomplish all that they need to accomplish and want to accomplish.
Thank you.
Can I just say this? I'm sorry. I have the biggest itch on the bottom of my foot. So I know y'all, this entire time I'm sitting over here like, so I apologize. I know y'all see me wiggling over here.
Thank you. Ms. Cox, the next question is also in regard to business.
Okay.
This one is, how would you evaluate the transparency of the city's business processes?
How would I?
Evaluate the
The
transparency
transparency.
of the city's business processes.
Is that, if that's the processes of new businesses coming in? I'm not quite sure what they were meaning with the question, but, I mean, I think if I'm elected, I've been in this office now for 6.5 years. I know what needs to be done. I've seen the challenges. I've seen some of the problems. I see some of the things that need to be changed. I feel like we need to reevaluate and assess everything that's going on right now before we move forward. We need to reset, we need to stop, assess everything that's going on, figure out where we could improve, figure out what's working well, and then move forward. So if that's what the meaning is as far as the transparency, I mean, I think rules are rules. I'm a rule follower, and I think that we need to assess everything, ensure that everybody's doing the same thing, the expectations are the same for every business, and then absolutely transparency is important. That's communication. I think we've not done a great job with communication from the city, and I believe that we need to be providing more information to the city on an ongoing basis.
Thank you. Ms. Howe-Coward?
Could you read the question one more time, please?
Certainly. How would you evaluate the transparency of the city's business processes?
So from my experience being in the military and being on several, you know, the different boards that I sit on, I'm a volunteer with the Georgia Office of Victim Services. I've been a delegate for the state of Georgia for the 10th Congressional District and for the 1st Congressional District, and I was also the 3rd Vice Chair for the 1st District, which put me over 15 counties. And I think one of the biggest things that you need to do, communication. We got to break this stuff down for the community. A lot of times when you're doing these meetings and the Zoom meetings and people can watch a city council meeting, they don't know what all that stuff is talking about. When you start talking about HB 461, they're like, what the heck is that? We need to break it down for the community. I need it broken down sometimes, you know, for a lawyer to break it down and put it in layman's terms and tell the people what we're actually talking about. What are we voting on? What business practices are we doing? Something that I love this idea, and I thought about doing it. And then when I was meeting with Mayor Ziegler over in North Bryan, and then I talked to the mayor in Savannah, and he does this also, you know, is do things like coffee and conversations where you do, you know, before or after your council meeting, you do one day, you know, once a month, you sit down and you invite anybody in the city. That could be people on the boards. That could be my next door neighbor. That could be a small business owner. That could be the police, the fire, anyone that wants to come, they come, they sit down. I don't drink coffee because we don't drink coffee in it's part of my religion, but I'll drink a smoothie or something else. But do coffee and conversations. You come in, have a seat, and we just sit down and we talk about the things. And you tell me the problems that you're having, concerns that you have, and I will address them to the best of my ability. And I may not know all the answers. I don't know a whole lot, but there are so many people that I can reach out to find out what those answers are. And, you know, the city shouldn't operate in the shadows, so I think our budget and all that, it needs to be out for the people to see, the community to see.
Thank you. And our last question, and I think both of you have already addressed a little bit of this, but Ms. Halkowart, how would you propose to support the Chamber of Commerce?
Gosh, I feel like I already answered that question. Okay, let's see. You know, I think that there is ways that we can collaborate. I would definitely have to talk, you know, to do it so that we're abiding by the laws and not hurting either entity, correct? But I think that we could look at, you know, there's a lot of educational programs that the chamber and the city are involved in. How can we collaborate together to support our youth? Because our youth are the future of this city, right? So also our small businesses, there's got to be ways, like when we did the seafood festival, I know that the city would give money for us to have the law enforcement there or something to that. I mean, I'd have to look at the funding. I just remember looking in the budget, there was money that was paid for law enforcement to do the seafood festival. So there's got to be ways that we can work together somehow to collaborate. And, you know, I don't have all the answers to that, but I do think that, you know, our educational programs, helping attract more small businesses. And I really think the kids' scholarship programs, things like that, I think that's probably the key. And I'm definitely interested in looking into that and collaborating on it.
Thank you. Ms. Cox?
Well, my answer would be, first off, I'd ask the chamber what they would like to collaborate with. I mean, I think it's important in knowing what their needs are. We've had several discussions, which I've mentioned earlier too, about discussing about occupational tax, startup fees, business incubators, things like that. But I think it really comes down to what does the chamber need and how can the city support that? Because of course we do want to be, you know, mindful of the legalities of that. But I think there's a lot of opportunities for us to partner with them, whether it be lunch and learns or gatherings or anything. I mean, a lot of people, you know, did love the seafood festival. Maybe we could come up with another plan that we could do a different event maybe that's held at the park and collaborate that way. But I think it really comes down to what are the needs of the chamber and then how can we actually help support.
Thank you. Well, that concludes our questions. Now, Ms. Cox, you have the opportunity to make your closing statements. And as a reminder, you have 3 minutes for your closing statement.
Okay, first of all, I do want to say I'm sorry I've been itching under this thing this whole time. And so, but I moved here 31 years ago to marry a homegrown boy. Alan retired from the school system. We had 4 girls. All of them went to school here in Bryan County School System. We have given of ourselves the whole 31 years that we've lived here. We've given back through multiple volunteer opportunities, been president, vice president of PTSO when the kids were small, school council, served on the superintendent's advisory council, served on the state advisory panel for special education. Just recently handed over last month the president of the Kiwanis, served on the YMCA. I have a lot of leadership experience through all the different volunteers as well as the professions that I've had. I was a juvenile probation officer, which brings in the accountability and being able to ensure that we are following laws and rules and everyone is accountable. Served with crisis pregnancy, so work well under crisis. The last position was United Way director for Bryan County and worked there for 7 years until we lost our daughter that had cancer. So the life experiences that I've had, as well as the professional experiences that I've had, as well as the experience and the training that I've gotten since I've been involved with City Council, make me the perfect candidate for taking this city to the next level. We're at a pivotal point in our history. It's very, very important that we make the right choices and the right decisions. I'm currently serving on the Georgia Municipal Association, 3 different advisory panels with them, member services, Children and Youth Council, as well as the disaster preparedness. And I believe that all of my experiences in the past has gotten me to this point right here, and I'm going to ask for your vote on November the 4th.
Thank you. Ms. Halkowart?
Well, once again, I want to thank you all for having us and doing this so that the community could know a little bit more about us. You know, I'm not from Richmond Hill. I wasn't raised here. but I chose this place. I chose Richmond Hill to be my home. And my husband and I, this is where we chose to raise our family. And there's, all these areas closer by where our parents live. We could have went anywhere, but we chose Richmond Hill because we love Richmond Hill. We love what it has to offer. My husband works at CVS. He's your local pharmacist. I have a kid that works at Publix, a son that works at Gulfstream. My daughter goes to the middle school. I have a son in the elementary school. So we're a part of this community. I sit on the school councils. I've always sat on school councils for every school that my children have attended. Where I'm going to be a little bit different here is when I'm making decisions for this city, I'm not going to worry if my mom or brother are mad, or my cousin, my sister down the street is going to be mad because I made a decision that they didn't like, but the decision I made was for the best of the entire community, not just my sister or my friends. I haven't been sitting on the city council, and I think that's where it's time for a change. If you've been in office for 6, 7, 8 years, I believe in term limits. You've had time to do things, get things done, and move on. I talked to Carter Enfinger the other day, and I brought that up. I was like, I believe in term limits. We've got to have them. It's important because you have time, you get in there, you do the job, and then you move on. Our founding fathers did not intend for us to stay in office and be to be career politicians, and that's not what I want to do either. I've served on a lot of boards. I'm a volunteer with the Georgia Office of Victim Services. I don't want to go into a lot of it, but I'm a survivor of a very violent crime, and the person that offended me is serving a life sentence. I suffered a lot from that. I've made a lot of mistakes. I haven't lived a perfect life, but I've moved on and learned from those. I've had people make threats at me about my past and bringing things up. You want to know something about me, call me and I'll tell you anything you want to know. I don't have anything to hide. I've never hid anything. I'm very transparent. I believe in being transparent. What I want to do for this city is I want to make the best choices for this city so that we don't become Pooler or McDonough, Georgia. And I want this to be a place that my children want to come back to. I want them to want to come here after they finish school, to come back and make this their home. Because I love Richmond Hill. I love the coast. I love going out on the boat. I love spending time with my friends and family. This is where I want to call home. And as your leader, I will make the best choices. I will do what you ask me to do. And I will lead you into a direction where we can feel proud of this city.
Well, thank you, candidates, for your time. Thank you for your commitment to service to the city. Thank you, audience. This concludes our debates for today, and I hope that you'll check in and please vote. Please vote. Thank you so much.
Please vote.
Ta-da!
Listen, my foot was itching too, and I kept doing like this, but